All right, so here's a couple more questions that I've been asked. The first one says, let f of x equal 9 cosine x. Now, if you take a look at A, B, C, and D, it's all talking about information that you're going to have to pull from the graph of f of x equals 9 cosine x. So first things first, let's go ahead and graph that. I'm going to make a makeshift coordinate plane. Let's see what I got over here. Here we go. I'm going to stick it right over here. All right, so we know that we have pi over 2, pi, 3 pi over 2, and 2 pi. All right, we also know that we have 9. 9 is our amplitude. That is how high and low our graph is going to go. And this is the graph of cosine x, which means I'm starting on that y-axis at whatever that amplitude is. And in this case, it's 9. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9. I'll go ahead and there's 10 right there. So we're at 9. Well, I know that's my height, but it's also going to be my depth. So I want to make sure I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I want to make sure that I'm graphing down below as well, below the x-axis. All right, so because we're not shifting left or right any, the zeros are going to stay the same. I still have a 0 at pi over 2, at 3 pi over 2. And we know wherever 2 pi is where we start the process over again. So that brings us up to 9. Well, our valley is at that negative 9. So here we're going to have our very loose y equals 9 cosine x. All right, that's just one period or one cycle of our graph from 0 to 2 pi. Now, it asks, what is the y-intercept? Well, that is going to be wherever our graph touches the y-axis. And because it was cosine, we actually are starting on our y-axis. So our intercept is 9. Boom. All right. The next question it asks is, for what numbers negative pi less than or equal to x less than or equal to pi is the graph of f increasing? Well, if I take a look at my graph over here, I'm going from 0 to 2 pi. So the logical thing to do is to go ahead and extend it another period or another cycle into the negative 2 pi direction so we get a fuller picture. So here I'll have negative pi over 2, negative pi, negative 3 pi over 2, and negative 2 pi. And it's still going to be the same. My zeros are still going to occur at the pi over 2's. The height is still going to be at my 2 pi, and my low is still going to be at my pi. This is a cyclical graph. It just repeats the same pattern over and over again. And I apologize for how awful my graphs are. I really don't do well graphing on the computer. All right, so now it's asking between negative pi and pi, where is my graph increasing? Well, I'm increasing from here to here. And please don't pay attention to how off my grids are. So we're increasing from negative pi to 0. So I'm going to put from negative pi less than x less than 0. I just don't have enough space right here to do it. That is where I'm increasing. All right, next it says, what is the absolute minimum value of f? Well, the absolute minimum value is the lowest our graph is ever going to go. And if we take a look, it's the same point over and over and over again, occurring right here at y equals negative 9. So my absolute value is negative 9. All right. Now, for the last part, it says, for what numbers between negative 2 pi and 2 pi, which we have graphed over here to the right, does x f of x equal 9. So I'm going to go up and I'm like, okay, well, here's 9. And I want to know all the places that f of x equals 9, which is that dotted line I just graphed, touches my graph. So at 1, 2, 3 places. And what are those places? Well, they're negative 2 pi, they are 0, and they are 2 pi. And that's all. So the biggest thing you needed to do here was graph your function. And that way you could visually see and pull the information out from it. All right. Now the next question is find the average rate of change of f from 0 to 5 pi over 3. Well, if you remember, we did average rate of change last semester, right? And that says f of b minus f of a over b minus a. Well, here's my a and here's my b. So let's go ahead and solve. F of b is cosine of 5 pi over 3 minus cosine of 0 all over 5 pi over 3 minus 0. Well, let's go ahead and simplify this out. Cosine of 5 pi over 3 is 1/2 minus cosine of 0 is 1. And then we have over 5 pi over 3. Keep simplifying. I get negative 1/2 over 5 pi over 3. Well, y'all know by this time you can't have a fraction in a fraction. It's a big no-no. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal of my denominator. So my denominator right now is 5 pi over 3. The reciprocal is just flipping it. So now I'm going to multiply by 3 over 5 pi, and we get an answer of negative 3 over 10 pi. And that's our answer. So I'd put negative 3 divided by 10 pi. All right, and that's it for this one. If you have questions, let me know.